Okay, so welcome again for the third part of this series, which is all about going cloud native with DevOps and Kubernetes. So here you can see we have a roadmap to choose. We started with the first part that was about DevOps, then we moved to the Kubernetes. Now we are adding cloud, Huawei Cloud and Kubernetes. And then in the later part, we'll be discussing more about Kubernetes and Huawei Cloud. So keep connected, and definitely we will be learning together to get more insight on Huawei Cloud and as well as for the Kubernetes and DevOps world. So this is the quick story. What we are going to have today, we'll start with the Huawei Cloud services for the containers and Kubernetes, and definitely a review of Kubernetes. Like we had a session of Kubernetes last time, and if you have missed that session and if you want to review, you can have a recording. The link was already shared by Miss Alina, so you can see these recording and definitely come up with the questions and all that stuff in the post. And today we'll be more focusing on Huawei Cloud, and especially for the Kubernetes and the container services. We'll be having a hands-on lab. We will having a Q&A session in the last, and definitely you can ask me question on the post, and I'll try to answer even after the webinar. So just a quick note, during the webinar, you can have a question on a chat and try to be remain straight to the focus to the topic, so we can cover most of the things. If you have any other question, still I am appreciate you and I want to reply to you. But even after the webinar, you can ask me on the forum or any different such social media platform. So without wasting further time, so quick introduction about myself. You know, most of you know me, but just one thing I need to highlight is that this is my seventh webinar. So far I have conducted six webinar on Huawei Enterprise Supporting Community, and this is the seventh one. Here are some certifications. So now what we are looking is the world of cloud native. We know it's cloud, and then we work on the cloud native world in the first two webinars, and we see how DevOps, CI/CD, and container are helping us. So if I summarize in one window, just to keep you review, like this is, let me draw the part for you. If I we are focusing this part, so we work on containers. We know about microservices. We had detailed research discussion on DevOps. Now what we are looking, we are now adding cloud, Huawei Cloud, of course, and the container and microservices world. So we can get benefit of all these things, and all four part will be making us able to learn cloud native in a better way. So just to give you a quick idea what is cloud native and how things are going on. So start with the introduction about the containers, how they work together. We know every application can be containerized, and this container can be run on any platform, be it your laptop, a public cloud, or a private cloud, your data center, anything. And this container can be uh, working in any scenario, carrying any application. So making containerized application is very important. And definitely when we are having millions and billions of containers, then it's not possible to monitor and orchestrate this thing. So here comes the big guy. The guy is Kubernetes, and Kubernetes is helping you. And we had a detailed discussion on Kubernetes in the last part. So you are welcome to check that out as well. So Kubernetes is the main engine which is supporting you to manage all your container infrastructure. And definitely in this container infrastructure, you are working like as a microservices. That all are making us cloud native expert. So we know about containerization. We know about Kubernetes now. We have just reviewed all that stuff. And what does that software do? Very quick introduction for all the resources. Let me go to a few more slides and then I'll come back. Like all these resources, let's say we have different resources. A resources is, you can say, an object. It could be a pod, it could be a deployment, it could be a storage, it could be a volume, anything. Pod is basically a container, you can say. So every resource is being managed by the Kubernetes, and then different resources has different sort of work to do. For example, secrets are used to keep some confidential data, whereas storage is generic term, or pod is the set of a container where your application, your you can say website or anything is residing over there. Deployment is a combination of all that stuff, and services are, you can say, logical link between these deployments and containers or pod, whatever. So these workloads are being managed effectively by this guy, that is container orchestration. And here we are discussing Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is responsible for managing all your workloads, their scaling, their provisioning, their availability, everything. I just like jot down few of them. If I say, okay, Kubernetes is managing 100 tasks, so maybe I just wrote here 10 tasks, but there are 90 more tasks which is being done by this small guy. So all the load balancing services, everything of your cloud native world is being managed by the Kubernetes. So, and Huawei Cloud is the one who is supporting Kubernetes very well. We have Kubernetes on our local machines. We can have Kubernetes on our on-prem services data center. We can have Kubernetes on our public clouds. But if we talk about the public cloud, then Huawei Cloud is one of the most user friendly, or you can say most container friendly system, because they have few services which we are discussing in the later part of this webinar. But let me show you one thing. Like, I've used different platforms like A Cloud and G Cloud, all that clouds, but the facility, the flexibility is being provided by Huawei Cloud is second to none. Definitely other clouds are very good as well. They have different set of services, but right now we are focusing on Huawei Cloud, and we are discussing few services which are very essential for your Kubernetes life cycle. Okay, what I want from you right now, just give me a message on a chat. Just any service if you know about Kubernetes, what Kubernetes can do on Huawei Cloud. Just a quick single word would be enough for me to understand what do you think and what do you feel like. Oh, any single word you can say, like let me give you one example. Let it can host my website. It's a very simple task that Huawei Cloud and Kubernetes can perform for you. So maybe we can have few more responses, like 10, 15 responses. So we have 15 use cases available. So all chat is all yours. So you can write on chat. Okay. Meanwhile, what what we do to control our Kubernetes is to control our application. But how these applications are being controlled, your application, your website, everything is in pod, and we give the command by CLI, by GUI, by any process, by API calls to our API master, because Kubernetes have two parts: master node and a worker node. So these slides are covered very in a fast manner because we have covered it in very detailed in last webinar. So just a quick recap. So everything we interact with the master node, and then master node is responsible to communicate all that stuff. But when you move your Kubernetes cluster to Huawei Cloud or any other cloud, or you can say if you purchase for the managed Kubernetes engine, then all the job is being done by your cloud provider. You just need to take a login, maybe a CLI or a GUI, and then put a command, and everything will be maintained. Infrastructure, networking, resources, everything is maintained by the cloud provider, and you just focus on your application development and deployment. So that is a good thing about managed Kubernetes. But this is the only one service which is Huawei Cloud is provided. There are so many other services which they are offering us, and definitely we'll be looking at it. So a detailed introduction about Kubernetes in Huawei Cloud. So before going further, let me see some chat. I can see some messages. Some are public and some are to me. Create images for my application, building my website, managing pods, creating deployments, and chatbot. Yes, chatbot can be created. Chatbot is basically is what is covering in my application. Any application can be built over the cloud. That was the first response which I got. So you, be it chatbots, be it your ERP or whatever, maybe you can put your database on it. So there are hundred of applications which you can build over it. But building Kubernetes cluster using Huawei services is one thing, and what we are building in that cluster, this is our job. Maybe we have a fintech company, we will be developing any financial solutions. Maybe Mr. XYZ has a gaming industry guy, so he will be developing some fighting game or cricket game or soccer game. And maybe Mr. Y has some media related company, so she will be uploading movies and all that stuff. So this is the application which can application can be of any type. But what we are focusing is the use cases. The one use case is to create image or host your application or use the containerized world. The other uh, use case could be that come to my mind is to have your backup. Like I have one setup on my on-prem server, but I want a backup or DR on a Huawei cloud. That would be the good reason. Or maybe I can use different services as per I need. Maybe I can use as a registry where I can store my images and all that stuff. Very good example, manage IoT services where I need to receive large number of data services. We can build data lakes. So there are so many services which are being offered by Huawei. Just a quick glimpse on your screen right now. But right now, what we are focusing on services which are especially for cloud containers or Kubernetes, you can say. So there are services for compute, storage, networking, database, all that. But we are right now focusing on uh, the services which are for the containers and the Kubernetes. So thank you everyone for your great input, for your chat messages and your responses. Glad to have you all. So we will be focusing on the container services. But if we discuss, like I got an example of IoT, fintech. So Huawei Cloud can have a very detailed spectrum. It could be of any industry. I just mentioned here few of them, like mobile payment, like which I was discussing, fintech, or digital banking, or anything. But as we discuss, we need the resources which are for the containers. So here are four resources. There are some more resources, but these four resources are being heavily used and very much appreciated. The first one is CCI and then CCE. What are these? We will discussing one by one, and then SWR and then UCS. So one is for the container, one is for the Kubernetes managing platform, one is for the images. Like I saw one message just to create images and all that stuff. And that, by the way, that image is entirely different, which you take selfie. It's not that image, it's an image of your software and your application. So joke apart, but that image is, you can say, image of your application, your runtime, and all that, your simple whatever your application is, with all the repositories you are having. So how do we manage these repository is the important thing. How do we transport that image? How do we keep it secret? How do we give permission? So that is not possible. We are not going to send email to our client that this is our image, you can use it. No, or mean we are not using any storage location like Google Drive or something. Here is the image, you can download it. No. So how do we transport these images? So SWR is the guy here, which is helping us a lot. So let me take you the slides where we can discuss each of them, and then I'll welcome you on the lab part where we will be focusing on container services, and I'll try to demonstrate these services one on console of Huawei Cloud, and I'll be putting more time over there because to having a theory it's a good thing, but just to implement things and get the hands-on part is the another thing. So start with the CCI. CCI is Cloud Container Instance. If you need any small instance or a machine, just use the word machine just for a you can say common life. Although we use a specific word serverless container engine. Like for example, I am running multiple applications and my applications are running on a temporary basis. Like I have a bunch of applications and these are running at different instances. Okay, so I don't want to create EC2. EC2, by the way, is a VM which is offered by Huawei Cloud. The name is different on different vendors, but for Huawei, it is ECS. So can anybody tell me what ECS stands for in a chat? So I would be glad to know what is ECS. So if I don't want to configure ECS or I don't want to pay much amount, so Huawei Cloud is offering me a service which is serverless container engines. So I can run my application on a go and then remove it. And thank you for a great input, Elastic Compute Service. I think it's Mahmood. Okay, the clap for Mahmood. Thank you. So come back to CCI. So CCI is all about the serverless. Up now, serverless is a term. It's a generic technical term which is being referred for a instance or the computing services for a shorter time of a period. So you use it and then you just revert back. You don't need to create a resource and attach all the infrastructure, network, and all that stuff. No, serverless is being managed, created, everything by the provider, CSP, cloud service provider. And we being the user, we just use it, and then just vanish it out. No need to take any tension or something. So CCI is very important service, and let me tell you, it is being used very widely because CCI are, for example, if I say a company, they may be using CCI services several times a day. But on the other hand, like database service or the network service, they may be used at times when they are required. But CCI are used most of the time. So there are some benefits. I'll be sharing this slide, so there is no point I keep on reading these features for you. You know all of the stuff you can find on website. What I focus is to give you knowledge and the best practices of these services. So I'll be sharing this slide with Miss Alina, and maybe she is helpful, and she will be uploading on a forum as well. So you will get this slide if you want to download it. So now here comes the master guy, this CCE. That is nothing but a managed Kubernetes service. I don't want to deploy my cluster. I don't want to manage my cluster. I just go to Huawei Cloud and I say, I need a cluster of 5 nodes where one will be master and 4 will be the worker nodes. And I'll be deploying my application using Kubernetes XYZ version. So everything from planning to creation to operation to scaling, everything is the responsibility of the great Huawei Cloud. And we being the user, we will be using the managed Kubernetes and we will deploying our application, we'll managing our network, we'll be deploying our everything. Like maybe it could be example of IoT services, it could be a example of a movie website or whatever I just want to build in it. So I will be focusing more on innovating thing rather than to operate or to deploy a infrastructure and all that stuff. So I'll be focusing more on the innovation part of the thing. So the one line thing which I must read, OneStop container lifecycle management. These are 4 words, but it tells you the whole story of the CCE. OneStop container life cycle management. It's been you don't need to go here and there. You just go to this service and then create a cluster for you, and it will help you to in creating, in managing, and scaling, in troubleshooting. Everything will be done by their team and their services. So you just focus on your part. So CCE is also one of the very good service which is Huawei is offering for us, and people are using it extensively. And the second part is to give you a basic idea of what you can do. You can use CCI not only for managing managed Kubernetes, but also maybe you have 2 clusters, you want to isolate these things. For example, I have a company and I want to build solution for my client, and the client is very much, you can say, a confidential one or something, a financial data involved. So what I create a cluster on my servers at my location, and I deploy all the testing and everything in that machines. But On the other hand, I also have a production setup or a live setup on Huawei Cloud. So these two will be isolated. And what if my testing is completed, then I move this private cloud managed Kubernetes setup migrated to the another instance of CC. So I will be having two services of CC in my Huawei Cloud, and but both are isolated. Both are, you can say, maybe I can manage from the same window, but they are entirely different. Maybe they are two different clients. Maybe they are two different projects. Maybe it's like two different entities. So you can see there is a isolation. There is a security mechanism over there. You can even encrypt while sending your data. So there are so many features with comes with CC. If I read this line, Cloud Container Engine is helping enterprises deploy, run, manage containerized application at a scale. So I can see there are three words are written: deploy, run, manage containerized application at a scale. It's mean CCI is helping enterprise companies to deploy, run, and manage their applications, which are definitely containerized at a scale. It's mean on a very large level. It's not like a website with only 100 and 1,000 users. No, it may be of a users of millions or billion in numbers. So you don't need to worry about scaling or something, because if I build my container or my Kubernetes cluster at my premises, right now I have 100 servers. At some time I would be needing 100 more, and then maybe at some time if my company grows up, I might need one more setup. So all that problem will be handled by this great guy CCE. So you just focus on your business development, your innovation, and all that stuff. So if I ask you rather than tell you that what is the difference between CCE and CCI, or I can read it again: Cloud Container Engine versus Cloud Container Instance, because we had discussed both of these one by one. If before you ask me, let me ask you, by the way. So I have an answer for you as well. I just compare both of these, CCE and CCI, in a table with some parameters like what is the pricing mechanism, what is the security mechanism, what about storage, how networking works, how deployment are different, what version of Kubernetes can we use, or how workload are being managed. So this matrix is very good if you compare it. So if I ask you which is better, CCIE or CCIE, CCE or CCI, sorry, my bad. Or you can say Cloud Engine is better or Cloud Instance is better. So you can just write a single word in a chat, so we can have a quick poll. Like maybe we have like 27 people, maybe 13 will say CCI is better and 14 will say a different thing. So we can have a quick poll. So let me give you 30 seconds to think and reply. Meanwhile, I have a cup of tea. So far, I got three responses. Better to share this response on a public chat rather than sending me. Okay, CCE is better. Okay, I is better, and then CE is better. So I have so far 5 for E and 4 for I. So 9 people have casted votes so far, and the rest are waiting to get the answer. So let me tell you, none is better. It's depend upon your requirement. If, for example, yes, definitely, Rajesh, you just spot on. It depend upon your application and the requirement and the cost. Let me add the cost as well. Maybe one of my client is asking me for deploy multiple applications and the size is comparatively better, but they don't have much cost to invest, and their application is not very much, you can say, very, what do you say, like they are not, the application is not very much highly sophisticated or something. So maybe a downtime can offered or something. So you will be offering CCI to them. Maybe they are creating, or maybe you can say like this: there's a company and their application is not being run every time. Maybe it is available for a certain period of time. Maybe this application is available from midnight to 1 a.m. and then in the morning 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So will not be going for CCA. We don't want a cluster is being managed for 24/7. Maybe the application has to run on some instances. Yes, the number of instances will be higher sites, but they will short-lived and they will be available for some certain period of time, and that period of time is specified, or maybe we can. So your application, your requirement, and your cost. So I hope you will now agree with this sentence which Rajesh has shared us. And I just add one more point, because application requirement and your cost, and definitely your company process is important to make some decision. Okay, so thank you for your input, everybody. So we have now two services which we have discussed so far, and two services, and both are very good and both are widely used. But there's one more service which is helping both of these. Even that the third service which we are going to have is helping apart from Kubernetes, or apart from Huawei Cloud, you can use it anywhere as well. For example, this is SWR, Software Repository. This is a very dedicated and very specified service, and which is responsible for complete life cycle of your sorry, container images. For example, I have an application. I took the image of that application, so I can containerize this image. So how would I be sending this image to my client, to my team lead, to my director to review, or to my QA team? I will be using this service, software repository. Now you might think one thing, question, that why do I go for this service when we have already available some public services available online, like GitHub, GitHub Docker images or something, or there are some other as well. But why should I go for this? So the answer is very simple. That services are for everyone. This is specifically for Huawei Cloud, for better options like security, fine-grained permissions. For example, I have a company and I am offering different customers and different sort of an application. So I can easily give permission to different participants, different clients, different, or even there are so many security features as well. And you can call these images from CCE, that is Cloud Container Engine, which is the managed Kubernetes. So you can use that. But if you are calling images from any XYZ platform, then there would not be much features available, because it is specifically for your needs, for containerized application, and for, you can say, so software repositories is very reliable. You have different options to trigger. You have different facility for permission, for securities. So you can manage your images in an efficient manner. Even you can create a timer, so that image will be available for next 3 months. For example, I have a project for next 3 months, so I will be putting a policy that this image should not be available after my project ends. So these are very small features, but they are very handy. Believe me, these comes very handy when you work on a system and you have multiple projects. So we will go to the lab and we'll see that options and as well. But before going to the lab and give you a little break for a minute or two, so you can think of a question or something in discussion, there's one more service, or I could say it's not more like a service, it's more like a platform for your efficient distribution of traffic. This is UCS. Basically, it should be calling like UCNS, but they call it UCS. It's a first in the industry that that helps you to run your application in any region with different traffic regions, different traffic distribution. For example, let me draw something for you so you get to know a better idea. Let's suppose I have one cloud. Definitely, it's an Huawei cloud. So I have multiple region one, region two, region three, or maybe this is one VPC and I have multiple regions. So I can run my application. Let's say this is my application, and I can run on different regions. That will not only increase reliability, resilience, and but the controlling of this traffic is very much problematic. So how this will be managed? The UCS is the guy. Let's suppose this is UCS. They will distribute traffic evenly. This is the best thing about the UCS. And there are so many other features like it help you provision exactly the type of uh, compute you need, because one thing which is very important in cloud is using appropriate resources. Appropriate word is very dedicated word. Like for example, if I need uh, let's say machine which needs to perform X data. So I will not be creating a machine X plus one, or neither I will create a machine which is X minus one. Here I'm using word X because I don't want to quote any number. Maybe you will said I have 64 GB RAM, that would be good. Maybe somebody comes and, no, I have 128 GB. So I'm not going to that debate. I said X. So I would not be configuring the machine X minus one or maybe X plus one. If I configure X minus one, then my services will be impacted. If I configure X plus one, then my cost will be impacted and my boss will give me a good time. So better to use the requirement as per that. Definitely, we just put some buffer and all that stuff, but we will not exaggerate things with extra values. So UCS is the guy which helping you a lot. It's provide you security mechanisms. It help you with logging in and everything, data collections. So this is service which is helping you out. So before going to the demonstration of Huawei Cloud services, and I'll be telling you different parts how these how these services are being used. So here I would like to stay for a minute or so because so any question if comes into your mind, because it's already 50 minutes we have consumed so far, and so far it's very good discussion on different Huawei services. So let's have 30 seconds or 50 seconds break just to think and just to observe, and if you have any question you are most welcome to ask or just put in a chat. Meanwhile, I'll opening my console of HuaweiCloud so I can share my screen.
Okay, so while Bashir is preparing for the lab session, if anyone has questions so far, please use the chat to address them. Okay. If you don't have any questions, I would like to remind you about the webinar post that I will also mention a bit later. I will share the link again for those of you who maybe joined us a bit later today. This is the webinar post, and this is where we will hold all the activities we have prepared for today, activities with rewards. And if you don't have an account yet, please use this short break to register an account now and be able to participate in the activities we have for you.
Great. Okay, so my screen is available. Okay, let me share this window as well. Just give me a second. Stop sharing. Okay. Let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
That's great. Great. Okay, so before moving to the services of cloud, which is provided by our Huawei Cloud, so let me show you the list of services which is being offered by Huawei Cloud. So you can see there are multiple heads, and each head has a different. Let's suppose, let me read few of them only, which I just pinned because mostly these are being used heavily, like ECS, which I ask you, scaling, EVS, elastic volume services. Then we have bunch of services from the networking world, VPC, ELB, elastic load balancer, direct connect, VPN. Then database are long list to follow. There is a migration tools, there is governance tools, there is communication tools like to sending SMS and messages. And here we have the container services like CCE, CCI, and then software repositories for container, UCS. Let me open one for you, that is CCIS. And we had a detailed lab on CCI in our previous parts. So you can have these links as well. And I think ma'am has shared on a chat. So you can see the previous labs if you want to learn more about CCI. You just created our CCI instance and we deploy an application. That was, I remember, our Nginx website or something. And then we used it a lot. And maybe if times allows me, we will be having a CCE lab in the fourth part or the later part. So we will be deploying a managed Kubernetes engine on our Huawei Cloud. And what we will be doing, that cluster will be created by the Huawei Cloud and managed by Huawei Cloud. And we will be deploying applications. We will be deploying some resources like deployment or services or load balancer maybe. So that would be one of the good thing to follow. But right now, what we are looking is SWR. Uh, and let me see a chat as well. Okay, before going to the lab, I just give you one more two questions, the answers, and then I'll be coming to the lab. Can we host a container in multi-cloud scenario? Yes. Containerization is the beauty of containerization lies in multi-cloud. If you are running containers in a single cloud, that is good. But to become a best, you need a multi-cloud because cloud is present and multi-cloud is the future. And let me tell you, future is already here. So things are already moving to the multi-cloud. So thank you for the question. I think it's Umar Yaqub. Thank you, Umar. So, and one more question, better to share on to all. Why containerized environment need any cloud or something? No, it does not mean you always need a cloud. The container can run anywhere. Anywhere means starting from your laptop to your server to your data center, your even on your Raspberry Pi, a machine with like $10 machine where you can run containers. It's very small machine. You can say very small computing resource. You can run containers on cloud, multi-cloud. You can run container everywhere. If you remember the first slide where I show a container and container was connected with different thing. It is on-prem or maybe a cloud or maybe your servers and everything. Okay, that's great advice. Okay, so come back to the lab part. Let me see. Yes, this is SWR, and as the name suggests, software repository. Although software is a single word, but they just use the abbreviation like soft S and the where for W, and then R is for the repository. So as I mentioned earlier, that this is being used heavily because it's help you to transport, to manage life cycle of your images from anywhere and to anywhere as well. You can send this to CCE, you can use it any XYZ platform as well. And there are a bunch of options available, like security options and privacy options. So first step is to create an organization. Organization is nothing but isolation in your SWR. For example, I am being the user of Huawei Cloud. I have multiple companies. I have multiple projects to run on. So I don't want my one image should go to the other participant. Maybe the employer is same. He's giving services to customer A and customer B, but I will not be allowing my client of customer A will be using see the image of customer B and the vice versa as well. So what do? We will be having a organization feature. We'll create an organization. Just let me see if I can say webinar 3 because it's a webinar 3. So now he's asking you to upload an image, or maybe you want to see the organization. I said, okay, I don't want. So I'll be performing this all task, and I would take some snapshot as well. So maybe I'll be writing an article for it, and you can see that different organizations are created. So I click on it. So I have only currently the one user is there. You can add multiple users. Maybe I can add user A, B, C, D, and the permission is to manage. Maybe the user 2 will be having permission of only view. He can only view. The other user might be she is only able to view and edit as well. So what I did yesterday, and I created an image, basically an ECS machine, and then I created a you can say engineering server, and I deployed a website, simply website, a very simple website for you. And then I make a image of that because it takes some time, so I just don't want more time on it. So in all the steps which I performed, uh, I'll be putting in a article, and I will be sharing uh, in near future. So you will see. So right now, what we have a SWR. Here I can upload my image. So that image was created on my Linux machine. Let's suppose this is one more advantage of our containers. So uh, we had that image available. We downloaded into my machine, and now I will be uploading it here. Let me upload this image. There are two methods to upload. First of all, you need to select which organization it is, and then select file. Okay, there are two methods. One is simple upload. If you have GUI available, you can just simple drag and drop, and then you can have your applications available. So this was an application which is of 182 MB, and I just create uh, yesterday, and you will see this image how this works. So meanwhile it is uploading, what I will do, I will uh, also upload one more image. Okay, what I'll do, I'll create one ECS quickly, and then get this image. So you will see the labs, how images are being transported. So let this be uploaded, and quickly I make one ECS for you. So this is a good thing. Just a quick recap how ECS are created. It was one of our very old webinar where we used. So I don't need a bigger machine right now because I just need to create one container with very minimum requirements. So Maybe I can use Ubuntu and let's say 20 would be good. Yes, 20 would be good. This is the version, and I don't need protection right now. Configure network. Meanwhile, it is being uploaded, and VPC should be okay. Default would be fine. No, default is not the okay. And then there are 4 ports available. I can add multiple ports. Like maybe I have port 80, port 8080, and this is for RDP, and then 2022 is for our access. Okay, now Elastic IP, I need that, and this is the bandwidth requirement, and then configure. So you have another thing just to review. Okay, let me put some password. Definitely, I'm not going to tell you this. Password is something which is to be confidential. Okay, and then confirm. So we have one machine ready. I'll be installing quickly on Docker or containers, and then we'll call that image which was created on my Linux machine, and I download its image in a tar form, and that image was uploaded in SWR. It is being uploaded. It's a little big image, so it take a little time. Meanwhile, my ECS is ready. Let me do some basic configuration so you will learn how to. So you will be having a 2 or 3 labs parallelly. So we can have 2 or 3 labs when are being performed. So what I will do, I will be making this machine as a Docker server, and I'll be installing Docker on it, and then I'll be calling image from SWR, but definitely that image will not be pulled out because that image is private and I don't have the permission. So I will be putting some permissions and getting permissions for my account, and then I'll able to pull that image, and then by this image I will run a container, and the container output will be visible to you, and that will give you multiple things, and you will learn great things about it. So now my ECS is ready. Let me take a remote login. So there are multiple methods to take remote login, but right now what I prefer is Cloud Shell. Normally I use Putty or something, but the Cloud Shell is another very good service. I really like because it has very good options. You can easily take console of your any machine or VM or ECS or something on from your web browser, and the options are very good because there are so many other services of different vendors they provide on web based login, but the options are very good. Some of the option, and especially this loading screen, I really like this because the animation is very cool, isn't it? So the one lab is going on SWR, the second one was ECS, and third one is of Cloud Shell. So let me log in by putting my password. So my ECS is ready. So you can see that it has all the folders available. So these options are really lovable. Okay, so my machine is ready. Now I will put configuration for installing Docker. Definitely it doesn't take much more time, but just to keep things rolling, I'll be putting in I just update, and then I install certificates, and then I'll create a folder where I will call my keys of Docker, and then I'll install Docker engine and containerd and all that stuff. So this machine will be working as a Docker server, so where I can pull my images and everything. Let me clear screen. Okay. Now the key is being copied. Now what I will do, I will be installing different applications. Before that, I would do an update, and then applications are being installed. There are 4 applications which are being installed right now, starting with Docker CE, then Docker CLI, then Containerd, and then Docker Compose plugin. Although it is not much required because we are not building more containers, but just to have a best practice, I install all that plugin, all that applications. So one by one, these are downloading, and then it will be installed. And one more thing which I just want to highlight, uh, recently I noted, remote shell is another thing which is not only a resource access tool. It is not only for providing access to your resources. It might have some other features. I will be exploring it soon. So you can, maybe it's a tool on your desktop, so you can easily install on your machine. Even you don't need this web browser to run all the applications. So if anyone has idea about remote shell, so I would glad if you can share on chat. And meanwhile this installation is going on, let me see some questions when asking questions. Okay. Yes, can Huawei Cloud integrate with container images like Docker Hub? Yes, it is, but definitely the availability and the control which SWR has, sorry, it does not have in Docker Hub. Docker Hub is brilliant, no doubt, but the features which SWR, we will be exploring some of them, is very important. Which supports complex container workloads between which service support complex container workflow between CC. It all depends upon your requirements, your cost, and everything. For example, maybe I'll give you one example and you will understand the difference. Let's suppose I have simple website. Definitely, I will be using CCI, very easy. But what if it's a single website, but the the credibility of that website and the resources or the users are hitting that website are enormous. So definitely I would be going for a containerized platform, or I'll be going to a Kubernetes cluster. And definitely when I go for the Kubernetes cluster, my first choice would be Huawei Cloud CC. So that all depends upon your requirement. And I think like a quick example comes in my mind. If I want to go to A point to B point, what is the good transport mechanism? It could be a bus, it could be a aeroplane, it could be a by walk. But everyone has a different features. If you walk from location country A to country B, it would take like months, but it would not cost you amount except your efforts. But if you go by plane, the time would shrink to the like 1 hour 2 hours, but the cost is very high, and the other things are a fear and all that stuff. And so I hope that would satisfy your answer. What are some features of Kubernetes that are specifically designed for Kubernetes workload? Okay, it's a good question, Omar, but we have discussed in detail about for this part in the second part, which is more about Kubernetes. And even if you have missed, don't worry, we have one more session uh, for advanced topic of Kubernetes, and then definitely we'll be focusing more workloads. Like we had pod deployment services last time, and we will be putting different more advanced topic in the next one. But just to give you the last few example, I'll be sharing this thing in the last for your question. Okay, so if I come back to my screen, I can see the installation has completed now, and I'm able to see that Docker is installed. But how I would know it is installed and is it working fine? There are two methods always. Either run Docker info to check, yes, it is installed and all of the stuff is being shown, or maybe I can run one container just to satisfy my Docker is working absolutely fine. Docker run and hello, which is always the first milestone for any programming or something or any task. I said Docker container run hello world. So what Docker does, it download this image and then run this container. So it's a very small image, or you can say a minute image to have. Docker image ls. So I can see it's just a 13 KB. It's not more than a text file. So it's mean my image is there, my Docker is working fine, my container was created perfectly from the image which I had. So now what I would do, now I will go to SWR and I see the uploader has finished. It's mean the uploading was finished and my image is available there. And you can see the organization is webinar 3, but type is webinar. Oh, type is private. So if I call this image to my Docker machine or even in any private machine, uh, so I would not be able to pull it because it's a private one. Okay, maybe you can run this command and you see if you have Docker machines available, because this is the private image, and definitely as a person which has the permission will guide this. This is one more you can say the benefit of SWR. Now what should I do to get uh, like the different options and the features we are discussing of SWR, like the permission, the security feature, the privacy feature, the availability of organization, like multiple features which I have discussed, and I keep on telling you the other features as well. So that is another good question. So if I pull this image, definitely there would be a problem. So what I would be doing, either I'll give permission to my user, or I'll create a temporary login for my account for this image. That for example, I gave you this image to you, so I give you a permission for a smaller period of time. For example, I set my security guard that allow this guy, and any guy comes in for meeting from XYZ company for today only. So if that guy comes again in tomorrow, then the security guard will not allow. So because the permission was only for some time bound. So I'll go to the generate login command, and then I cop because this is valid for this time. Okay, and then I go to the Cloud Shell, and what I would do, I would just paste this command. Although okay, there is a small red flag when you log in Docker with API keys and something. Although it's secure, it's for a smaller period of time, but there would be a warning that using password is not always the good method. You need to have the other options to explore. But as we are working in a private organization, the private environment, and we are also using Cloud Shell, which is also a part of a Huawei Cloud. So this is fine for now. Now, what I can do, I can go to this image and see this address, or maybe simple I can write docker pull and then the address. Ab how this address is being read, this is very important, because simple there's a one command docker pull nginx or any image name, because docker has to pull what is this, the nginx or whatever I would say. But here the concept is little different. Let me paste and then I'll draw for you. First of all, docker is the guy who is doing that operation, pull is the action verb. Now there's a very long string, and that string has multiple part. First part is this. This is the showing that what is the location. It's been when we write docker pull nginx, so by default it is like docker pull docker.io/nginx, because it is coming from docker. But here I have to mention it is coming from HuaweiCloud, and webinar 3 is in my organization. Baz app was the name of that image, and latest is the tag name. Maybe I can use latest 1.3 or whatever. Maybe I have my application have multiple versions, so I would be putting that. If I don't put anything, it would come as latest, or maybe I can write latest specifically. So Docker, you have to pull the image from this location, which has multiple organizations. You will go to this webinar 3, which is the organization, and then this application name, and this is uh, the tagging or the version. Or if I can give you example, like this is my country, then it comes my city, then this is the address where I live. So you give the address of your country, then city, and then your specifically area, and then your flat number, and then your floor number. So this is the hierarchy. So if I pull, so what it is doing, Right now it is pulling the images. Okay. Now here one question is that why there are multiple numbers, because we know image has multiple layers and every layer has different things to follow. So this image is being pulled in a layered fashion. So after pulling all the images, it will just tag us it and then said, okay, image is downloaded and then image is available. How do I know that image is available? I can write one command, docker image ls. Docker image ls and then enter. So I can see I have two images available. One was hello world, which is very tiny. I don't make a problem. And the second one, the name is very big, which I mentioned earlier, and it was created 25 years ago, and the size is 187 MB. Okay, that's fine. So, but this image has no use until we make it a container, because it's an image. It's a software. It's available on your system, but until you install it and you run it, then it will be useful. No? So what we would do, we would do a clear screen so you can have more space to view. Okay, now what we do, we will be running this application in a container and try to get the output out of it. So what I can write, docker run. I can say any name just for my ease. Let's say I put a name BAZApp so I can recall the name of the container, and then I make a port number 80, and it should up. Why I give two port numbers? That is very important question. One is the port number of host where the machine is there, and one is the port number of my containers, because in this machine maybe I have multiple containers to run, so that's the reason. And then what I do, I said -d, you just run this container on a um, discrete mode or in a background, and then the name of image. I don't remember the name of image, so what can I do? Maybe I can run the command again, docker image ls and something. Or I can do one thing, if tab works. Yes, tab is working. I remember start with swr, so I just put swr and tab, and the whole name was completed because of the auto complete feature. Now it gives a number. That number shows that container is run, and but there is no output because I use the -d feature. -d is something which is detached mode. You don't run on the screen because I would be puzzled with the information over there. So I just add one command -d, or you can say uh, one action item -d. So now this container is running with this image which was created on some other machine, some other time, some other operating system, and the image was transported successfully over the SWR. And now this image help us to run the containers. But what about the output? That is the important thing. And that is the important thing which I want you to answer or give your a thought how, because definitely if I mention a port number, definitely this application would be more like a any website or web page something, and that would be open on my web browser or something. I ask you the question and almost give you the answer. So let's try. If you can answer me, how I would be getting the result of this container, because this container has an application or page or running, and I want to see that image. Anyone? Any quick guy or a girl? Because I can see few girls are there. Okay, one more hint for you. As I mentioned, this is the port number and the port number of container and the node, and this is the image. I don't know what is in this image, but this image is using for creating container. And I want to container to explore. There are two options. Either I go into the container and see if my application is running or something, or maybe I can open, I can try to curl or ping or something, or maybe I can use my browser and put my IP over it and then try to open it. Any idea? Any guess? A quick input from your side would be helpful. 10 seconds. No idea is the better idea. Okay, so let me tell you one very evident example. If I open my browser, uh, can you confirm me what is being shown right now?
Just Google.
Very good. So
Google search.
that is basically the a very evident hint, because I use a port and I use a page, a Google, and when it comes in your mind, then there must be some website. So what I would do, that this container is running an application which is most probably a website, and because I have a port number to mention. So what I would do, I would write a command docker container ls, like same. I write one command docker image ls. So listing of all the images. Now I want listing of all the containers. Now I can see this container ID, which is very long number 9 beta beta something, and the image is being used this one, and the command is something I don't know right now, created 3 months ago. But the port number is mentioning anything going to port 80. It means I can hit port 80 of my node IP, so I can get the out. Here I write port 80. If I would have written port 90, then I would be hitting my node. Let's say my IP is 106.168, and I can write port 80, or I can write port 8080 both, because right now I'm using 80, so there is no point writing 80 because by default is 80. So there's a very small image which I just created yesterday, and it was simple page, and you can see, but that was created on a Linux machine with different computer on different OS, and I created an image of it and transport that image to SWR, download this image into my laptop, and then we upload it into the SWR, and SWR is helping us to transport to our ECS or any cloud service, even on your third party. Even you can do one thing, that you can go to any Docker machine which is posted everywhere in this world. You can just run this command, the pull command, which we use it, just pull command. Okay, and you will get this image, and you can run container from this image, and uh, this is very good. Okay, so I can see that my website, although it's very simple web page, but it is visible, and I can run this container, and I can transfer that image according to the use of SWR. Okay, now one thing I would like to add, that the features of SWR. Okay, if I open dashboard, first of all, the dashboard is very good. Like all the images right now, I have only one image. What about the traffic utilization? Right now, I'm having with organization feature, which is very important. And then if you click on image, it will give you the detail about the image. This image has tag of latest, then description, pull, how we will pull and push. Pull means to get from the repository, push mean to send to the repository. And then here comes the permission. I saw one message, so you can give the permissions, like for example user XYZ will only able to get this permission. Who has the permission, I will be adding. And then for the sharing, if you want to share the image, you can share to account number, let's suppose 575, my account number, whatever the account number of my customer, and it is valid on till certain time. A permission is to pull, he cannot write, he can only pull. Maybe it is permanently. So there are multiple type of permissions. Even you can put a retention, which I was discussing. Like this image is being used for next 6 months. After 6 months, it should not be available. Although it's private, but just to add one layer of security, they have a retention policy as well. Maybe we can put some trigger like if this condition met, then go to this namespace and all that stuff. And synchronization is very much very good feature. For example, this is my image with the latest tag. But now what I do, I change this website with some more fancy things and all that stuff. So the page is same, but the content is added. So I would not be doing all the process. I will just add one more with the tag name 123. So all the tags are will be available, and then you will be having an option to explore, okay, which one I want to use, and you can easily explore from the list of the available tags. So these are very good features. And then the bunch of image resources. These are the images which is owned by me, which was uploaded by me, but there are hundreds of images available. It's like a marketplace. I can get Alpine, I can get BusyBox, Ubuntu, you just name it. Let's say this is 12 images multiplied by 164. You can see that how many numbers of uh, images available. Okay, sorry, I got muted. Okay, so what I was saying that there are 12 multiplied by 164. So there are thousands of images available. Let's say if I go to Alpine, that is a very minimal Docker image for running any Linux machine. Maybe its size is 2-3 MB, not more than that. Uh, the size is very low, less than 5 MB. Okay, so I can pull this, and they have multiple tags available there. Latest and like 2.7 MB, which is not even a application of a mobile phone has more volume than this. So you can easily pull this image and then you can use it. Okay, so and then definitely the organization. Right now I have two organization. You can build multiple. So the user in webinar 3 will not be able to get images of this or the vice versa. So that is one more advantage of my SWR. And happy to see different questions, and really glad to see that people are getting some benefit and all that stuff. So this is the idea. No, okay. So even what I can do, we can let's say uh, how much time we have. So already we have more than 1 hour, but on this Docker machine we can pull any image and then create a container and then use it. So right now I was using SWR services, and we had used CCI as well. Maybe we will be using CCE in the future. So we have explored different services and the lab. So now we are open for discussion. And if I want to show the slide for
Okay, so now is the time. If you have any questions, please address them in the chat. And I also mentioned before that if you are one of our participants who has a question, please also share your question in the community by leaving a comment under the webinar post, or please mention your nickname or username in the community here, because otherwise I cannot select you as one of the winners if you don't have an account in the community. Okay, so it's up to you. Either post in the community or let me know here what's your username or your nickname in the community, because only members of the community are eligible for rewards, obviously. So I wanted to mention that as well.
okay, one thing. Okay, that is the topic for our next webinar topic. Like we will be exploring CCE as well, and we have some information about community, and then we have a discussion, of course, for some time, which Miss Alina will be telling you, and then we will be having few questions for you that will help you to review what we have learned today, and just to give you chance to get a reward. So over to you, ma'am.
Yes, so like I said from the beginning, we have two activities for you today. Basically, the first one is that we will select three questions. So the participants who had the three best questions can get 600 high coins. But as I said before, if you have a question, if you want to participate in the activity, you need to have an account in the community as well. So you need to share your nickname or username here, or you share the question in the community as well. And the second activity is that we have three questions for you. Of course, they are based on the content that was presented today. And you are welcome to go to the same post that I mentioned many times before. I will share the link one more time. So this is the webinar post. And you can go here and leave a comment with the three answers to the questions that we have for you. We will select the winners from those of you who answered all the questions correctly. The price is 600 high coins. If you are not familiar with high coins, they are the virtual currency of the Huawei Enterprise Support community, and you can use them in exchange for different rewards in the online shop, such as regional gift cards or physical items like gadgets that you can find in the reward section. If you want to be more familiar with the rewards we have, here is the rewards section. These are the items that we have, but we add new items constantly. So if you want to participate and win 600 high coins, there are two ways to do it. Either have a good question or answer the three questions. With that being said, we can present the three questions. I will also post them in the community after we end the live session. And of course, if you still have some questions for our host today, use
Sure.
use the opportunity to address them, because
Okay,
you will be
what
able
is
to.
best then to get a reward by asking and by answering the question? Both way the winner is you, and ultimately the benefit is the knowledge which we have today. So these are three questions, and you just note these questions. Definitely, it will be posted on forum as well, and then you will write on the comment. Don't write answer here, and then
Yes,
we will.
please do not answer here. I've mentioned this. If you want to participate in the activity, you need to go here to this link I posted in the chat, and you need to leave a comment below this post with your answers. If you answer here, they will not be taken into account for the rewards. Okay, so you need to go to the community and post a comment there with your answers, not here in the chat. Okay.
Okay, this is the first question, and definitely I'll be answering for your question. Wait a minute. Huawei Cloud does support Kubernetes orchestration, true or false? You can write A or B or whatever you think better. The second question is more about service. Dash is the fully managed Kubernetes service that helps you deploy, manage, scale, containerized application, be it cloud container serverless, cloud container engine, serverless service, or core cloud fusion is one of them. You can choose the single one. And the last question is very easy and very good one. Dash are some of the services offered by Huawei Cloud for Kubernetes. A, B, C, and there's all of them are as well. So you can think which is better for you. These are three questions, and I hope you can answer it well. Okay, let me go. Let me allow Mr. Lina for a few minutes so I can reply to these few questions which I get on a chat. Okay,
Yes, of course.
thank you. So, are there any limitation or restriction on the size of the number of container images? Okay, there are two things. First, size would the size of image is always very low, and this is the duty of DevOps engineers to make it as small as possible. And it does not mean that you don't add uh, necessary things. It's mean you just skews the image size as small as possible. The more smaller size it is, the more faster it would be. So you saw the image size like of MBs, or even some was 182 MB, some was 3 MB, but the maximum size is allowed is 2 GB. And number of files depending on your pocket, how much you will add, definitely it will cost you. And so that was another good question from Paulo. And then we have, um, what is the importance of port mapping while running an image? Okay, port mapping does not directly concern with image because image is a static thing. The container is the one which is culprit. Na? The image is used in a container to run an application, and then this application use any port mapping. For example, if I don't want a port to be mapped, what I would do? I will run a container with using XYZ image, and then this image will be running in container, and I can use the IP to access this container. But there's no port involved. But what we do, we expose to a port, so I have multiple options. If I would not be using ports, then what would we do? All the ports will be of the all the ports of the container will be exposed to the node, because let me draw. I think it would be better for you to understand. For example, this is your node, and here come the container of pod. For example, there are three pods, and definitely input is only one. So what we would do, we will map a port. We will say if somebody hit IP with port number port 1, port 2, port 3. If somebody hits on the same IP with port 1, then comes here. If port 2 comes here, if port 3 comes here. It's again the common example comes in my mind. This is my apartment. The address is same, but this is 401. The one guy is living, guy A. Floor B, guy B is living. Floor C, another guy. So everybody has the same address, but he will mention floor 1, he will mention floor 2, she will be writing floor C. So the mapping of code is entirely important. On the other hand, if I have a home, so the home address will be of mine. I would not be dropping that I live in a room number 1, my brother lives in a room number 2. Okay, so that was the idea about port mapping. And another question I see, Huawei Cloud have some kind of scan container images for vulnerabilities or scan. Definitely, it's very important thing, and they keep on everyone. It's not. I say there are some features which are common to all, so I did not mention these things. But vulnerability scan, security issues, highlighting is the one thing which is performed by almost everyone. If even I go to the image center, let me go to image center, and I click on single any image, like this is a MongoDB image. So they are saying like this image is pulled by this number of times. So they keep on checking, and also they keep on highlighting issues if they have any. You can see maybe somewhere here any issue regarding this image, because although this is a very well-known image or very widely used image, so there are less chances they culprit. Different images are there. If I go to some less known one, let's say Tommy. So this number, the higher the number is, it will show that so many people have trusted this image and this is images. It's fine, and people are using it well. All the informations are mentioned over here. So again, the thing is that these processes are being followed almost by everyone. So thank you for your question again. Okay, don't write here answer, Mr. Okay. If in Q3, if we actually Q3 is question three, I thought quarter three. If we select D, none of the above will also be selected by default. Definitely, you are right. And this is your assumption. What would you select? Okay. Can you go back to question number two? Why not? And officially, it is end from my side. Miss Alina, if you want to add something.
I just want to add that I will share the questions in the community as well. This was a preview